25 basis points rate hike is going to take a lot more than that, says Bitcoin. Question everything, trust nothing. Welcome to Debate Crypto. It's TA Thursday, and we've got the best in the game as always. If you're just coming in, smash that like. Make sure to follow all the creators on here. They are doing hard, solid work for you. Let's bring them up. We've got it kicking off with your boy, Crypto Vet. Vet, how you doing, brother?
Man, I'm doing great. Glad to be back on the show. It's been a while. I know I haven't been producing as much content myself, but I've been trying to help other people. So I'm glad to be back to help you guys.
We are glad you are on, and we have the one and only Crypto Lifer. Lifer, what's going on, brother?
What's up? What up, Vet? I saw you. We were in a Spaces once, I think. Yeah.
Nice
to see you in person, man. Nice to meet you.
Heck yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's
like a big crypto family, and it wouldn't be a family without your boy, as always, Magic Internet Money. Magic, what's going on?
Oh, another Thursday, man. You know me, I wouldn't miss this.
Thursday's good money.
We've got a lot going on, Crypto Fam, with the Fed. We're going to be talking a lot about that today. Some other little tidbits sprinkled in there, and we're going to find out what are the charts telling us. A lot of people like to trade, but they don't really know what the heck am I doing here. So we're going to dive into the charts. TA Thursday. All right, again, smash those likes. Let me jump into the chat real quick and say hello. Mr. John Connor coming from over in Ireland. What is going on, brother? We got Raymond Ayala, Matthew Turnbull. Who else is up in here? We've got Kenton. As always, Kenton, what's going on? Justice, highly trained, Mr. Evanchik, Crypto Rambler, XRP Shillbilly. This is a good name right here. XRP Shillbilly. Shout out to that name. C's Crypto, Red Robles. Man, I can't even get through all these. Brett, what's going on? Brad, Bull Runner. Glad everyone's here. Let's have some fun today. Let's get right into it. Let me start off with the charts. Let me see what actually the market cap. Let's see what's going on in crypto land. We have got, let me update this. The global crypto market cap is up. Just jumped a little bit. 1.18 trillion with the T dollars. That's up 0.19%. That puts Bitcoin at 27,888. Is that accurate? It was up over 28. No. There we go. Man, it is jumping around a lot right now. We can get into the charts on that in a minute. 27,876 says coin market cap. Who knows how up to date that is? Ethereum's at 1797, 1800, up about 3%. Rolling through the top 10, we're either flat or up a couple percent. So looking good there. Let me ask the panel before we dive into specifics as it relates to TA. Just a one question, one word answer. Bullish or bearish for this next week? Vet, bullish or bearish?
I'm bearish.
Bearish. Magic.
A little boomer moment there, getting unmuted. You know what? I'm gonna say that we're probably gonna get a little downside here.
Okay, a little downside in Lifer.
Bullish.
One
word, guys. One word.
We got two bears and a bull in the house. All right, so let's get it off. So Magic, I saw your tweet yesterday. It said something to the effect of, I think it was box to box. And so you have always said, show me the charts, I'll tell you the news. We've heard a lot of people say that, but that's something that you've been vocal about. So the Fed meeting yesterday was rather dovish, even though we had a 25 basis points rate hike. And in that meeting, Chair Powell insisted that the rate drops were flat out off the table. So what did we get from that? We got an immediate price drop from Bitcoin, but then we got a bounce. So show me on the charts what could have forecasted that move. So before the meeting, what I'm saying is, did you see anything that could have forecasted that particular move?
Yeah. So we were actually covering this in our morning live streams about 9 a.m. Central. We've been talking for a few days. We essentially wanted to see this local high taken. This was our target box right here between 28,333 and 28,726.50. And the main reason being is when you looked at these highs right here, if you went into like the delta spread and everything like that, it just wasn't a strong high. So we knew that the chances of it being taken were pretty good. And 4 out of the last 5 Fed meetings have seen the move reversed. So the plan was take the high, take the lows. Okay. And so the question then becomes, where are you going if you do that, if that move does play out, right? So we did get the move. Once you gave up weekly open to anyone else, they would have just called it a trend line, right? Like this, you can see the bounce, then you give it up and you come down to support. Now you've come all the way back up to your resistance. So for me, it's all range bound. I'm just looking at stop losses and where those are going to be at, and where the likelihood of people being trapped shorting into support, which for me was coming in at 26.9750 down to 26.72450, really leaving a very important structural low right here. So this was always going to be the target. That's why if you look at this move as we've approached resistance, you have your initial low, another low. These are all higher lows. You've not run stops on anyone. And if you go into the volume, you can see that it's a lot of buyers, which is what people say I want to see. But it's really not actually as you're approaching resistance. If the buyers are not doing a good job of moving the price and they're just being absorbed by a larger player, you can usually spot that in CVD through order flow. And so, yeah, you could tell right away people were being trapped up here. You weren't getting good highs in the sense that someone was passively letting this resistance be hit. However, there still weren't enough buyers to get through it. So we knew that the odds of it being taken before a move down was likely. And that 4 of the last 5 times on Fed Day, if it gets taken, like we suspect, we're going to fade that move. And that's exactly what happened. And then last night, as you know, when we came into support, I tweeted it out. I said box to box. I expect to see this box again. It's very simple range play. That's all it is. And I'm going to trade this range until it breaks, basically. If this range is going to continue to pay me, I'm going to continue to take money from it until it's no longer a range.
Man, I love that. I've always been the person that kind of contradicts the show me the charts, I'll tell you the news just from a fundamental standpoint. I say, hey, listen, there's a lot of things that absolutely will throw that out the window. Not even just like a black swan moment, but there's just a lot of information that comes out that's unexpected and then boom. But it is wild. I'll give it to you. It is very wild to me how often it's really on point. So that's a great explanation of that. Being range bound, let me just follow up question, Magic. Being range bound, are you effectively, because you always say don't diddle in the middle, are you effectively just trading those, longing those lows and shorting those highs in between that range? Is that effectively what you're looking for?
Yeah. So I stated this the last couple of days. The only places I'm willing to get involved in price are in the blue boxes. I'm not looking to do anything in between here right now. Now, if you missed this move down, you did get several opportunities to get in long again on higher lows, looking for this area here. You just have to understand your invalidation has to go with it. You got to move that around a little bit. But yeah, I'm really only looking to play my levels at this point. If price isn't where I need it to be, I'm just not messing with it, especially on a move that gets this extended because, you know, I mean, you never know when the move could end and you finally get that big correction that everyone keeps talking about. So you don't want to be stranded in no man's land.
Yeah.
You know, when that happens. Obviously, a good trader won't let that happen because they'll have a stop loss anyway. Right. But we all know that not everyone plays with stop losses in this market. It's why we get liquidations.
Yep, absolutely. Which ultimately can really help or really hurt depending on what side of the liquidation you're on there.
True.
But yeah, no, that's great information. So if you're paying attention today, hopefully you are. Take some notes. These gentlemen are making some money trading these markets. All right, Lifer. So talk to me. I was stalking your Twitter a little bit, and there was a recent cup and handle formation that broke to the upside. All right.
Like the one today?
I think that it was today. I haven't looked at. I haven't.
It was
looked
like
at
a
the chart.
crazy
I'm hoping.
one. I almost didn't even consider it a cup and handle. It was a fractal of a 1 minute bottom that I found 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
In my mind, like I didn't even draw the fractal, but my mind that recognized it. I was like, a lot of times that's a reversal.
Yeah.
I'll show you what I saw. It's pretty weird.
So yeah. Talk to me about what you saw, and then tell me what you see from this in Bitcoin for the short term.
All right. Did I share my screen properly?
Yes, sir.
I did it. Okay. So, you know, I like to do things really simple. All right. Support and resistance. See, price came here. You were going to stutter here because that was your previous support. Price will always, 90% of the time, it's going to stutter at previous support. So you bounced here. So when you came back up, you stalled. You know what I mean? You can look at the CVD, but the CVD probably gets affected by this support and resistance because you have a lot of, there's a lot of big time traders that use simply support or resistance and pattern trading. You know what I mean? I do more. I obviously want to see the order book. I want to see what's happening. So here we got resistance, right? I was watching this as a symmetrical triangle. 50% chance that it was going to break to the upside, right? So I was watching for this. Once it broke, and then it even tried to, but again, it got back inside again. The way I trade patterns is weird. They've been breaking patterns more in the last 18 months than I've seen in my life. So I've actually getting better at like playing a broken pattern. So like the idea is if they were able to close a 4-hour candle back above this trend line, that's still a valid ascending triangle, even though they wrecked it here. And they've been doing this all the time. They'll take a beautiful pattern, they'll wreck it, destroy it, but they'll come back into it. And as long as you're still back in here, so if we can close a daily candle back above this trend line, it'll be more bullish to me, right? What I'm looking at big time is this daily, right? And this is a spider line here. And I used to mess around with diagonal fibs. I don't do it as much because it like confuses beginners. But if you ever sat with me and we hang out all day, like we'll do all sorts of weird, crazy stuff. But so like, see, this is a diagonal fib line. It's really a spider line. And if you opened up, you might see it play even further back in line there. But the idea is this. I mean, you bounce. The second you lost that line, you were gone, right? You came to it, resistance. You can clearly see resistance. So to me, if we hold that line, we're good to go. And what I'm seeing is another ascending triangle right here that looks like it's going to fill. This would also kind of coincide with Magic Money's range because we would kind of do this, right? And he would be able to make his swing trades throughout. Now, if we lose this line, it's obvious we're coming to 25 too. The thing is, so many people miss the run up. And I've been through these Bitcoin runs and I've been that person too. So I've been on both sides of the stick. I've been the smart guy that able to buy on the low. And I've been the idiot who watched it pump and wished I bought more. So a lot of people, and I shouldn't say idiot, just like the uneducated person that didn't really understand what was happening quick enough to make a reaction, right? So this boomed up, and this went back to 19, and you had everyone saying, "Oh, you'll get 16, you'll get 17." You know, some famous YouTubers were like, "I'll go to 12K," and like they disappeared. So like what happened? It ripped back up. So people that basically are wanting to get back in, they're freaking out. You have all these people that are like, and their emotions are high, man. And the second this comes down, I believe they're going to grab it. I have a strong feeling we're not going to come back to 25-2 because it's going to, like, I'm going to front run you. Like, I already have 20K and I'm going to be putting in before we get there. You know what I mean? And I'll have more money to put in if we go down here too. So I'm going to front run anyone that thinks they're going to get to 25-2. So, and I think there's more guys like me doing that. And then you have all this retail. I'm not saying it's guaranteed. It is. Show me the chart. So I will just see if this trend line holds. This trend line holds, you're likely to move, and you'd be surprised. The length of the pole is that. And every time I've done TA, I've stuck to the length of the pole. And so many times I've done this, and the length of the pole is ridiculous. I've done ones where like it's
what's that put us at 38?
Yeah, that gives us 37,000. And the eights are funny too. I play with the eights a lot. I like trading around the eights, 38, 800, 38, 770. The 800s tend to be a psychological support of resistance. The whales like to play on the eights. I've noticed it since 1908. So this says we could get to 38,600. Again, we lose this trend line, we're coming back down to 15.2, right? So I like what he's saying by playing the range because once you're in the middle here, so I like longs off this trend line, shorts off the top until we get tighter into the zone. I just got stopped out on a long. I was long on a 7-minute flag. I was longing this flag here, right? I was just trying to catch a scalp on a low stochastic, which the probability was high it would eventually go. I literally just got tapped out. There's a chance it might come back up as long as it stays above this, previous resistance. The weird thing that I saw this morning, and I didn't catch it. I usually do, but I didn't catch it this morning. But I was trading I was looking at Bitcoin on a massive dump about 2 weeks ago. And I think I showed up on like a Friday night or something because it was just a nasty dump. Maybe it was Thursday last week. Yeah, it was during the screen share, I believe. And I eventually, or 2 weeks ago, there was a nasty dump during the screen share because last week wasn't as bad. And I found this on the 1 minute, and it resembles a cup and handle. It's a bit insane. But again, if that is a cup and handle, your length is this wick to wick, and that's what we did. And I saw the price action hit the target like to the T. It's so insane,
Do you normally trade shorter, longer time frames? Do you have something just for people that are watching? Is there anything in particular that you generally like to trade?
I'm a swing trader, 3 to 5 day swing trader. Like I don't like day trading personally. My life, I'm busy. I'm tutoring people all the time. I'm doing interviews a lot, right? Yeah. So when I'm day trading, I tend to look at it too much and I'm not there for the students. And, so as I became more of an educator, I tend to swing trade more. I also enjoy swing trading more. I just love it. I like putting $4 to $5 grand in, stop loss at 15 to 18% on the 4-hour time frame, and making 10 to 20, maybe even 30, 50%. That's kind of what I do over and over again. I do like the small time frames just because I look at small time frames to verify my support and resistance. And if I know the 7-minute can get back above, like if we get back inside this pattern, then I know this pattern's valid again. But I can't see that until I'm on a smaller time frame. Okay. Then this pattern stays whole. I might trade this pattern on the 4-hour, but I got to let the smaller time frames make the confirmations. as I'm getting a little not bored lately, but I've been starting to trade a little leverage on MEXC, but I didn't make tons of money trading leverage. I made tons of money longing coins and like researching, you know what I mean? And I made what I made researching and following through with what I did and like sticking to my convictions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I found Phantom at 18 cents, 22 cents and rode it to 3. I
Right.
found EGLD at 20. And then what I like to do is swing trade for those bags. Like I remember when my Phantom to make my Phantom bag that was $5,000, I live swung trade 10 grand and I was just going in and out making $400, you know, sometimes once or twice a day. I did it 10 times and then I put and that's, so yeah, I'm more of a, I like to swing.
You like to swing
and sometimes day trade to create investment purchases that I sit on for 1 to 2 years. And that's that's where the big money comes in. I'm telling you, that's where you can make serious life-changing money. Like I was talking about that in my trading group today, like focusing on a 4-year plan,
having that big picture. A lot of people, and I'm going to shout out to the chat. If you don't have goals written down, you're wrong. Okay. You'll hear people talk. You'll hear people talk about this. It's something you'll see on a TikTok, oh yeah, that's so inspiring. No, freaking write it down for real. Like it's written on my refrigerator, right? It's written on my refrigerator, my game plan to be able to retire by 2030. Why is it written down there? It's written down there because I got to see it every day. And then I have to continuously thinking about executing on that game plan. And my understanding with trading is it's kind of the same idea. You have a game plan when you sit down, whether it's day trades, whether it's swing trades, no matter how you're trading, there's obviously a lot of different ways to trade and things to look at when you're trading. But if you have no plan whatsoever, let alone having it written down, I can tell you from experience, I've done a lot of no planning trading, and you don't want to follow what I've done there. I can tell you that right now. It just doesn't end up working out well. So I appreciate that you.
What I did is I've just built an AI portfolio.
Yeah,
I put it, a pretty what most people think is a pretty good amount of money, and I'm going to hold that for 2 years. You know what I mean? And you got to pay attention now. You know what I mean? Like,
dude, the research
you want to see.
Yes. The research is huge. I think that's another piece where people look to YouTube, they look to Twitter, they look to other places for other people to do their research for them. Now, while I think you should look or could look for some confirmations maybe from other places, I really think you've got to invest the time into figuring out what the heck's going on. Because if you're not convicted on something and you can only believe so much in what somebody else is saying when you don't really know on the back end how much time they've put into it. So shout out to everybody out there researching. DYOR, research, write down your goals. I want to just say briefly, smash that like if you're just coming in. We have got a great panel. Follow Vet, follow Lifer, follow Magic. Their links are down below the stream. This stream, as always, is brought to you by Danger Close Alpha. And also, let me pull this up here right quick. Do your taxes. We are sponsored by Price CPA, Crypto Tax Bookkeeping. This is a friend of the channel. We do our taxes with him. Listen, we talk about it all the time. Taxes suck. Nobody wants to do taxes. But I can tell you when taxes suck even more. Walk up to a CPA and tell him you've been trading actively for the last year and he doesn't know crypto. I promise you, A, the CPA is going to want to boot you in the ass, and B, you're going to want to boot yourself after 10 hours of sitting there with somebody that doesn't understand crypto that can help you save money. So if you're looking to get involved, you can check him out. We've got a link down below the stream. Shout out to Anthony Price. He's a really good guy. All right, cool. So macro, we've got a ton of stuff going on. So Vet, you've been talking a lot about U.S. Treasury yield curves. So followed up by the 25 basis points announcement, you were talking about the banks feeling pressure. So how do you think that this is going to reflect on Bitcoin's price moving forward this year? Is there anything that really sticks out to you on the charts that would support your thoughts as it relates to that?
I really tried to find something to stick out on the charts, and I'll go over that in just a second. But coming back to your question, the reason why I was bearish earlier is exactly coming back to yield curves and everything that the Fed is doing right now.
Okay.
When we think about the banks kind of going down, why are the banks failing? There's tons of arguments: fractional reserve lending, bad investments from SVP. But whatever the case is, in the end, the Fed is in charge of basically keeping the swings from being way too bad, going one way or the other, right? And obviously right now we are seeing that pressure as this bank run is coming about, whatever the actual cause is. So the reason I'm bearish is because of the Fed. And that is definitely only in the short term. And like when we go into the macro, there's a couple different scenarios that we can go into as to, if we do have more QE, if we don't, if the Fed does pivot. And all of these do have different outcomes that would be highly more likely. So I'll go ahead and share my screen.
Yeah, pull it up.
And
Let's take a peek at it. There's so much going on with the Fed that is going to absolutely either wreck us or, well, I think we're wrecked either way, but we'll talk about it. Let's
Yeah,
check it out.
so I'll go ahead and head over to the Treasury curve. So the main thing is what the hell is a yield curve, and why is this important? Well, if we look at Treasury yields, this is staking. This is government staking, and this is how companies can put money in and hopefully get paid back a guaranteed rate from the government, right? It's
Hey,
funny
Vet,
how they're
hold on
coming
one
after-
second. Hold on one second. I'm sorry to cut you off. I'm getting a bunch of feedback somewhere. Are you guys hearing that, or is it just
I
me?
did hear it. Yeah.
Okay, it's coming off some. Are you muted right now, Vet?
Well,
It's
not
pretty-
when I'm talking.
I mute my mic. I try when I'm not
Okay.
talking.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Continue, Vet. Sorry, it was pretty loud. All right,
Okay, is there any feedback right now?
Not right now.
Okay, perfect.
All right,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. So going over the yield curves, it's like, what is it? Well, this is basically where companies, people, anybody can buy something with a government backing, right? And these can be 6 months, 2 years, 30 years. They're treasuries guaranteed by the government, supposedly. So what does it mean if it's inverted? So well, let's go ahead and look at like what normal is. So if we look at normal, we have, hey, if you only stake something for 6 months or you buy a 6-month bond, you're only going to get 2%, right? If you believe in something, you would put more money in for a longer period of time, locked in to get higher rates. So that's what a good economy is. We're booming, we got money coming in, people are lending, everything's good to go, right? Well, where are we at right now? We're exactly the opposite. So what does that mean? That just means that we are not very prosperous at this time, and we don't think that we have high hopes that 5, 7, 10 years from this date, we're going to have good investing. So what do? We do quick turnarounds, and we see an inverted yield curve. And the reason this is important is statistically, I think it's about 6 out of 7, or it might even be 100%. I just don't want to be off. The last time we have had inverted yield curves, it has been a predecessor for a recession. It's the chief indicator for a recession coming in the immediate future. So the reason I think this is a problem is because with the pivot and the Fed doing these rate hikes, we have the banks struggling to actually have money and to actually lend money. So what does this do? This constricts the economy. The economy cannot grow. At this rate, then we have problems with wages. We then have problems with unemployment. We then have problems just drastically around that the Fed, again, is supposed to take care of. So this leads us on a route like what's going to happen here immediately. If we look at what happened during COVID, this is the kind of zoom in here. This is COVID. Everything right here was looking good, man. It was prime. We were about to take off. This happened. We actually had an inverted yield curve right beforehand, right? Predecessing that we did have some recession during this time, right? Did we have it here? Very, very briefly. But in the sense, it just, that was out of nowhere, a black swan event. So as we come up to now, why do I think the Fed hikes are still really bad? We have zero volume since we started having no QE, right? This is the first time Bitcoin as a whole, the last time we had an inverted actual yield curve that had a true recession was before Bitcoin. We're talking like 98, 2008 briefly. These times, Bitcoin never experienced. So my fear is people trying to survive. This is us. These are all of us traders here. This is, Lifer, Magic Internet. This is us. Who's else is coming in? We're not having a huge influx of people. These big red bars here are influxes of people getting out, and we're buying it.
Yeah.
So as we come into regulation in the Fed only cares about the banks. They're going to save the banks because if the banks go under, they go under. So we're going to go back to more counterfeiting, or QE, whatever you want to call it. We can't do that bullshit, but they can. Right. So as we move into that, this really puts us in a tight place. So I'm like, Lifer and saying, we're doing short-term things, 3 to 5 days, because who the hell knows what's going to happen next? So, like looking at the DXY and other figures here, this is showing weakness of the dollar. We have a lot of geopolitical things going on with Russia and the Chinese yuan, until there's the fear that if potentially people like Saudi Arabia switch sides, well, now the US dollar could hyperinflate to the point where who's the guy who said 1 million in like 90 days or something?
Oh, yeah, the ex-CTO of Coinbase. Yeah. Uh-huh.
That's the only way that shit happens is if the dollar goes to garbage. is the only way that happens.
yeah.
So he is like claiming that this is going to be a straight financial collapse that's just going to flip. I wish he was right. Unfortunately, that's not how our government's going to do it, right? They're in charge of the money. They're in charge of the world. They're going to fix this their way and just skirt the problem. So that's why I'm kind of bearish right now. As we move into, like, moving forward, sorry for all the clutter on the charts, but
No, you're good.
you know, I'm doing everything on just momentum and just RSI here. So like as of right now, we're a little overextended. And you know, like, can we have a few weeks up here and can we get pretty high, maybe 30, 40? Of course we could. I just don't see it lasting. So this chop could just continue on for all the way, you know, till the next halving would be my thesis, because that's when we have supply and demand kick in, right? We now have demand, even if it stays stagnant, supply has now been cut in half as far as what can be obtained. So I'm hoping that just those simple mechanics would cause an influx in price, and that's kind of what I'm waiting for. But this recession is, if people need to survive, they need money. Even us, there's going to be people who need money, and that sell-off is going to potentially happen. So this is where I have the potential of us going down to 9 or 10, filling that CME gap. Maybe not there long, but that's where we would come down to, because that's just where true pain would be, right? And this is just finding those levels. You know, right now, if we hit to 30, there's not much volume there. There's also not much volume coming right back down to 20.
Yeah.
Right. We're in a very, very, we can see it right here. Here's 12,000. There's the big chunk of volume. There ain't shit up here.
Yeah.
So
Well,
that's kind of where I'm at.
so Crusader and I have done a little bit of back and forth on talking about just some of our portfolios. And we were talking about it yesterday or the day before. I said, I just genuinely am convinced, and I've been talking about this for over a year, that over this next year, something geopolitically is going to happen that is going to crush these markets, right? I don't feel that we have experienced enough pain like we have in the past. And so but I also see a setup right now, and this is where the conundrum comes in. I also see a setup right now that says we could get a heck of a move to the upside, basically a perfect storm, an advertisement for Bitcoin that says, hey, your money's not safe in these banks. You've got a better option here. And people start moving to that safe haven. The problem then on the other side of that is, how much is the government actually going to allow us really to do that? Because at the point that people genuinely start exiting the banks, fleeing the structure, the system that they have set up to put us into debt slavery, we've got problems at that point, because they're going to push back. They're going to say, no, enough's enough, right? And then the regulations come into play and all of the other things that we're waiting on. But what we were talking about was, do we take like a nice little chunk of profits at a certain level, whether it's 35, 40, 45, whatever, like set a game plan, like I said, write it down and take a chunk of profits, because I do feel it coming back. The crazy thing is, this could also, on the complete opposite side, I don't see this, but this could be, and Crusader brought this up, the perfect storm for the super cycle to set up. So just kind of yes or no before I get into the next question. Magic, super cycle imminent or no?
No.
Okay. Lifer?
My trading background allows me not to answer that, because I don't know where price is going to go.
Okay. All right.
You know?
He's opting to not. Vet.
In everybody's term of super cycle, no.
Okay. All right, cool. Well, we're paying close attention to these markets. I will tell you in advance, I'm such a dollar cost average guy. I talk great things about taking profits. It's actually one of the things that I kind of suck at, because I just want to see where my bags are at in 2030 and beyond, is effectively,
you might make more money doing that.
How my mind works. I hope so. I mean, it's done well for me since 2017. You know what I mean? So continue to do that. Crypto fam, let's get up to at least 100 likes. We got 102 people in the chat. I want to just mention, we have a Twitter space rolling right now. If you want to come up and effectively do a call in to the panel and ask a question, I saw the super chat earlier. I think it was from, who was it from? Sorry, I saw it earlier. There was a super chat. I saw you, John. Yeah, here it is right here. John, thank you very much for the super chat. I didn't forget you. €5. We appreciate that. It said panels TA on XRP. We will touch that before we leave. But if you want to come in and effectively call in, drop your Twitter name down below your super chat, and we'll bring you up on stage. You can actually ask one of the guests if you have a question on here. We'll set some time aside towards the end of the show for that. All right, cool. Let's move. Yeah,
can I just show one last thing on my?
Yeah, sure.
Like a second. It's just once, because I forgot I was supposed to show it.
Yeah.
This is a trick that I used, and I've used it many times to make money on many time frames. Simple moving averages, you slap on 5. When they get very close and you have the outlier of the 200, price pumps to it. There's like a 70% chance that Bitcoin goes right to this yellow line.
There's a magnetic force for the
Yeah,
200.
it'll
Is
go right
effectively what
there.
you're
Like
saying?
I've seen it. I've seen this happen thousands. Like it felt like for me hundreds to thousands. Like this. So because we got above this gap in the VRVP, because we're moving, it's just like in the 3-day chart still has momentum. Like the 3-day chart's not done yet. So I believe we're gonna. This is the rally is gonna end somewhere around here when we tap that 200 SMA on the. Sorry, when we tap that 200 SMA on the 3-day chart, and then look, what will be interesting is that will be a giant cup, and then we'll make the handle here, and then boom, right?
And then rock it from there.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I'm all about seeing some big numbers out of Bitcoin, out of crypto. You know, why would I be streaming on a crypto YouTube?
That area is 32,000, like $200,
around 32K.
Right?
Yeah, I love it. Let's check it out. I love it. All right, let me pull this up right quick. I want you to take a peek at this for me, Magic. Did Bitcoin mark a local top? Here's the level to watch. Bitcoin price analysis. I'll let you study this real quick. It's a pretty complex chart, Magic. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to handle it. It's got a single arrow on there for you. It says Bitcoin's impulsive rally seems to have temporarily halted, and the price will likely enter a correction phase before the next leg up. Overall, Bitcoin is facing significant resistance at the 30K level, which has not been tested yet. So, very simply, is this true? Do you see that 30K being a problem area if it is, you know, if you wanted to see it push through 30? Is that going to be a problem? You agree with it? You disagree with it?
I'm actually more in line with what Lifer was just saying, but I do want to see 30K tested. There's just some NPOCs up there. I'll show you like what it looks like on a range basis.
Okay.
So again, box to box, right? Very similar to what Lifer has there for the, I believe it was a 200 SMA for the 3-day there. 32,392 to 32,903 is the next level I'm looking for. Obviously going to trade this region of the chart because I think it's going to offer up a really nice reaction. And if it doesn't, it blows through it. Again, order flow is going to let you know whether or not you should be getting involved, to me. So terms
it's
of
going
range,
to let you know, but
yeah.
I mean, people are going to have to jump up into your Discord to figure out how the heck to understand all of that chaos that makes you money.
Oh, it's not really chaos. It's just it's like any other trigger. There's other tools that people use as well that are effective. So it's just the one that we prefer. Just trying to identify what money's coming into the market, which direction it's flowing, and then jump on the coattails of the market maker. You know, that's all you're doing.
Hugely important.
It's that simple. Let's see, where is it at? I think it's right here. Nope, that is not it. There we go. So this is your old market structure range when we dumped out of our larger range into this like 25K to 32K zone. You can see right now the value area low of this old range is also that, you know, June 22nd summer low all the way back here from 2021 before going to 69K. So this has been a really good support and resistance level. It's why I wanted to trade it so much and why it's marked on the chart. Now, once getting back into it, you also have a quarterly naked point of control, a weekly naked point of control, and it's the overall POC of your market structure range right here from this section of price. So I do believe it's going to offer up some form of resistance. I don't know necessarily that that's going to be the ending. I tend to believe that if we get through 29K, we'll just call it that right here, find acceptance into the range. What we know often is while the POC is a major target, lots of deviations do rotate the entire range. And so then we can zoom out a little further. And what you'll notice is this box is really just formed off of the low right here coming in from the Q1 of 2022 and this local high right here put in. That's where this little box comes in. And if you just look left, that's been a highly important area on the chart, namely because going back to June as well, you'll find that this is also your point of control from your consolidation over here, putting a lot of emphasis on $32,000, both from a local volume standpoint and just a market structure standpoint as well. So I do think that if we get through the June 22nd low, I do want to read the reaction out of this. I think it's going to offer up a nice trade. However, I start kind of like my eyes start getting a little bit bigger and saying, maybe we can go to 32K and get people extra bullish and run them out of the market, take this high even. And that would offer up a really nice swing failure pattern potential trade. So lots of trades that can happen. The only thing I can do, because I don't know what's going to happen, is just take advantage of the opportunities that are given to me when they are and have a plan in advance. You don't want to be winging this stuff as prices coming into these zones. You know, whether your plan looks like lifers, whether it looks like vets, whether it looks like your own keeper, like we've said, write it down, trade what you're comfortable with, and make sure that you know what your risk is going into it. Because if you don't have that, you really shouldn't be trading anyway.
What would you say is a good rule for a beginning trader? And just want to throw out there while everybody's in here, Magic is going to be coming on. We're going to be doing a seminar here shortly. We will start selling those tickets soon. I think it's going to be pretty limited. We're probably going to have about 50 seats. It'll be between an hour and 2 hours. You're going to be able to live interact with Magic as well. It's going to be a beginner trading group. Just teaching the beginning steps. What's TA look like? What is it? I'm going to let him set up all of the ins and outs. You don't want me doing it, but ultimately just wanted to throw that out there. So starting off, risk management's huge.
Yeah.
What would you say to the new trader that's coming in and they're saying, hey, listen, like, I don't want to just paper trade. Let's say they've done some paper trading. All right, fine. They want to actually get their feet wet. What's a good percentage of their portfolio to actively trade with?
So yeah, risk management is going to dictate that. It's not necessarily a percentage of your portfolio to trade with. It's what you stand to lose in a single trade. So let's say that you can do the math, and like I have a risk calculator, it's on Excel. It's very basic. You plug and play. You can use no leverage all the way up to whatever you want to use. And you tell it how much of your capital you're risking. So let's say you have $1,000, you're only going to risk 1%. And if you're a new trader, stick to 1%.
1%.
Don't get crazy with it because you're going to lose in the beginning. Stick to your rules. And understand that failure is a part of this. Nobody wins all their trades. That's a part of it. And you have to understand that mathematical concept. If you can wrap your mind around that as long as the math as long as I win, you don't even have to win more trades than you lose. You could actually lose more trades than you win as long as you're taking more out on those wins, right? Like you have to figure out what strategy works for you. Like if you're swing trading, you can usually lose a few more trades, that's just what it is because the reward's greater. And if you're day trading and you're a high frequency trader, you're going to want a pretty high win rate. Like mine, I've taken 150 trades, 142 coming into today on one of my scalp accounts for Bitcoin only. And I'm sitting at like 79%. And everyone's like, that's a really good win rate. And I'm like, yeah, but if you don't have any risk management, like those 21 out of 100 losses are going to absolutely clean your house. It's going to clean you out if you're playing with all your money. So make sure that you understand the concept of I can control how much I lose in this transaction. That's all I can control, 1%, because I'm still learning. And until you have ample data, you can go back for like a year and be like, oh man, I'm actually good at this. I can maybe up my risk a little bit and then stair step it up. Don't just like throttle it out there. Don't go all in. It's like I always said, it's like blackjack, dude. There's people
all in 100x. That's the way to do it, right? Isn't that what you guys are teaching?
If you can avoid leverage, I would recommend it. I know a lot of people don't because these exchanges really make it easy for people to access leverage. If you can avoid it, I recommend it. But I know that's not reality. That's why in like our group, I have just an Excel spreadsheet. Anyone can download it. Hey, this is a risk calculator, plug and play whatever numbers you need to. And it's going to tell you exactly how big of a position to use in that scenario based on where your stop loss is and what your risk profile is. So makes it easy.
That's good stuff, dude. No,
you don't want to have to think about that.
Keeper.
Yeah. What's up?
Can I just he just brought up something that I struggle with all the time.
Okay. What is it?
Well, I teach people daily. And so I'm always like, the beginner comes in, right? And then I even have people on my team, like my trading group. I don't shun leverage trading, but sometimes I hurt a leverage trading's feelings because I'm like, guys, like, leverage, watch out for leverage trading. And then people that leverage trade in my group feel like they're not included, but they are. I want them all to feel included. So like I'm asking MIM, like, how do we do it? It's like, because it's funny, you mentioned something that I love what you just said. And I didn't expect you to say it. So like I want everyone to use their own tools and I want to never find their own way, but I also want to protect the beginner from doing something that's horrible. Yet I don't want to alienate the leverage traders. And I'm always trying to find a happy medium. You know what I mean? Like, how do you do it? Like, or, I don't know if I put you on the spot, but you brought up such a good point for me as a trader, because my number one rule is protecting the beginner. You know what I mean? Because I feel like the big boys can handle themselves. So I always try to like protect the entry level into the space. At the same time, you don't want to, make people feel like their strategy is not worth it and not good enough. You know what I mean? Because and some people take that and try to protect the beginner as you're putting down leverage trade, but you're not. You're just trying to keep someone from getting hurt, and you don't know how to balance that.
Yeah, it's tough. For me, it always comes. The very first lesson that we have when someone gets in there, it's literally a video on risk management. It gives them a journal that I've put together on Excel, and then it gives them the risk calculator so that no matter how they're trading, they can calculate risk. And if they're still unsure and I can tell they're not sticking to risk management, I'll usually just back them off altogether. And I say, hey, I don't want you to paper trade, but put $100 in an account. And then I want you to take $1 trades. until you can prove to yourself that you're profitable on taking $1 trades, you still have skin in the game, you're still trading, set yourself up for success. Because if you just jump into this thing like day trading, you're gonna get wrecked eventually. It happened to all of us. We've all done it. But
My
it is
mentor
one of
was
those
like,
things
if
where
you
it takes
can't
time.
double 100, you have
Yeah.
no business putting any more money in. Like, if
Yeah,
you can take
exactly.
100 and turn it into 100, then you can go ahead. But if you can't double 100, then you should just stop. You should just keep going till you can figure that out, right? Yeah.
Well, one of the, that's a great segue into this next question that I have. One of the things that's made me nervous recently has been all of a sudden we have this huge influx of this hugely bullish news. And in the past, I've been in crypto long enough to know a lot of times some of these news articles are not so newsworthy. They're paid by someone because they're trying to use people for exit liquidity. So I'm going to pull one up here. I'm going to ask Lifer on this. So this article right here says Crypto Insider, another 270% Bitcoin price rally possible in 2023 with a new all-time high. Now, I'm asking you, Lifer, because I know as a general rule from knowing you and watching your content, you are generally a Bitcoin bull. So that being said, do we think that we could possibly see a new all-time high? Is this likely or not? And can you break it down a little bit for me on the charts? Go ahead and take a peek
And
at
did
it.
they give a date there, right? Was it
I just said this year. That's
this year? Yeah, in
just
2023.
this year.
Yeah.
Yep.
I started
And that's
staring at the charts and my
100,000.
brain got.
I just measured.
It's what?
It's 100,000, like 98,000. I just measured from where we are now, 270%.
270
So
to there.
they're basically saying it's going to hit 100K and new all-time high.
Well, it's funny. I go to this like, I go to this like, it doesn't always play out, right? I made this one idea, and we'll go back to this chart, but it shows you like spans of time, right?
Okay.
So where was I here? Right here, October 4th. All right, I'm trading, I'm doing my thing. Everyone's saying this was that, we had the dump. Everyone said the GBTC would take us to 10K. I actually found a golden pocket, and I longed Bitcoin at 32,000. It slipped down to like 29, but I eventually got to rally up to 69. It was amazing. This is also when I started getting into Phantom, but I did it off of a bullish divergence on the daily and a golden pocket on the fib from the bottom to the top. So then I found this cup and handle, and the cup and handle told me that we were going to get to 69,000 by November 20th. And lo and behold, this is crazy. But look, I was off by like, I don't know, about 12 days or something like that, It's pretty nuts,
That's
right?
wild.
So and who knows? That was one of my, like, I call it lucky. I don't know what it is, like, whatever. But I just wanted to show that because now I'm going to do a similar idea and just try to see if we can like time it. Because usually, TA, I don't like timing. Like most technical analysts, if you ask us when it's going to happen, we're going to tell you we're not sure. We just know that's likely to happen. You know what I mean? Like we don't really care about the timing. Like, I mean, we don't want to be 100 years old, but so if we go back here, I'm just going to delete all my old work that we just did. And I'm just going to show you macro idea. You got to start looking at the weekly and seeing like what could occur, right?
Yeah.
So this is a falling wedge. Falling wedges break up 68% of the time. So we got a falling wedge. Done. All right. That's achievable. No one would argue me on that. Then you have a length of your pole, which is the length. That's, and that could be Elliott in a way. 1, 2, 3. I'm not huge in Elliott wave, but so here, boom, right? And that's kind of what I did when I found that prediction, right? Not saying this is going to happen and don't hold me to these things, but so 81,000 by December of 2023 is like the best I can get. Maybe on a crazy rally and a couple banks fall off, we could make an all-time high by the end of the year. There's a possibility by the TA. There is a possibility by the TA. I mean, I remember when everyone said we were going to dump here, and I drew the funkiest falling wedge I ever found, and I drew this pole, and we did it. We did it, and we did it basically in the exact time frame this arrow told us we would go. I'm very anal about the angles of my measured moves. I'm very like once you do it for a few years, you start to like it's not here, it's not there.
Well, it makes a difference because
it's right there.
Yeah, it'll move the price a lot.
Totally. Like how I was able to hit this prediction, it mattered. That angle was important. This angle has to match this angle. It's very important, and you're very selective of how you angle that. A little off or a little over, you know what I mean? I guess a little more, I would have nailed it. But, and again, it's an art. This is an art. It's a craft. No one's going to do it exactly the same, in my humble opinion. Somewhat, we all have a 90% structure. So in answer to your question, I mean, there's actually technical analysis that suggests it's a possibility, right? And if there was more price action for Bitcoin, even though there isn't, like it's kind of, I started making this, I use so many cup and handles, and I started seeing things, I call this an ascending cup and handle in a way. And it's kind of like the cup ascends, you come back down, and then it can continue. And I've played it many times. Some people call it a scallop, you know. So that's interesting. Another thing, I remember some people talking. I just want to come out and publicly state that I'm 95% that that's your bottom. And I'll tell you why, because
that we've already hit the bottom.
Yeah, because the divergence tells me, just because that got me thinking, that's bearish divergence on the weekly. We didn't see it. I call the top there. I had been getting into divergence heavily, but by this time I was like I would made tons of trades on it, like cold. So I knew, and I also played the 21-day moving average. Whenever price gets away from the 21, I don't care what time frame, it's going to revisit it. If it makes a pretty good gap away from it, it's going to revisit it. Now here it kept going with it. So, but the smaller time frames, like look at the 4 hour. Every time we were on this pump for Bitcoin, if you wanted to swing trade Bitcoin, a great way to do it is to find like a wedge. Like these 4 wedges were really great plays for Bitcoin here. It pumped up, and look, they all made their exact measured moves. It's so weird. Like that nailed it. This one you could have taken just like a bit of the smaller flag because there was a little knuckle there. That nailed it. And each time what happens is price gets far away from the 21 and has to come back to it. And so I kept studying, and I studied this on every time frame. The 1 minute even I saw it happened on. So I'm sitting there on the weekly one day, and I'm like, this looks like we're going to pull back because we're too far away. When we're too far away from the 21-day moving average, and we had bearish divergence. I called the top right there, and it was sad for me because when I finally was about to make the video and tell everyone the next day, I was like, I knew in my heart like that 90% of my TA was telling me that the run was a wrap. And it was like sad for me because I am a Bitcoin bull.
Yeah.
And that's when you've become a technical analyst. When your TA tells you the truth and you have to face the music, no matter how you feel about something, no matter how bad you want it, your technical analysis tells you that the math is just not there at the moment. And, and maybe anything could happen, but you got to play probability because that's all you have.
Yeah.
It's like the only light you have in a dark room. Like you have to use the probability. So there's a chance, man.
That's a really good point.
This was fun. I got excited when I saw that question and my wife told me today because I was like, oh, that's going to be fun. I want to see where it could actually go.
Well, I mean, candidly, I think anyone that's invested in crypto wants to and would love to see some, crazy number out of Bitcoin. My concern with it, and I'd love to hear from the other panelists, my concern with it is if we get too big of a move too fast, we've all seen in the past that the faster we come up, the faster we go down. And that scares me because combined with the macro conditions that Vet was talking about, the things that are happening in our world right now, I don't know. It gets a little dicey.
On hype, though. I think we're going to go up on fundamentals this time, a little more than last time. So I think there's a little more.
I think this next run is a utility bull run. I've been vocal about that. I think that coins that have utility, that actually do something, that actually solve a problem, are going to be the tokens that are going to do the best. I definitely do think that. So I don't know. Magic or Vet, you guys diametrically oppose or agree with Lifer?
Never opposed, man. It's one of those things where like I'm long from 16.6 still. I'm still holding longs. Okay. I don't care what price does. It is one of those things where, TA works. There's lots of different ways to do it. So as he put it, is there a chance it could do it? Sure. There's always a chance it can do it. You know what I mean? And we'll know more as time goes on, but none of us truly know. We're just playing the best probabilities at the time. And right now the probabilities have been up. And the best trades have been up. Like, can you short still? Yeah. I mean, in certain circumstances, but holding shorts right now has not been the best play locally for a few months now. So you have to be able to basically adjust with what's coming your way. So everybody wants us to be like, nope, it's going to 32K and then dumping back to 18 and we know everything. That's not how this works. So we're just,
don't get me.
Good.
I said I'm on Lifer and your Magic side here. I said, don't get me wrong. I said I'm bearish in the short term, and I think it's because of just the immediate market at this time. Long term, I'm 100% a Bitcoin bull. Utility. I mean, I'm the CTO of an entertainment company, and I implement blockchain technology into all of our artist branding. Yeah. Right now, we're using AI and other things like that. So 100% on the utility and the Bitcoin, just the bull run. But for right now in the short term, there's just a lot of things that are showing that we could see some sideways action. And I actually did say that I think that the Bitcoin bottom was 15. My prediction of going down to 9 or 10 is if we consider to continue down this really bearish route that everybody foresees. We hit the banks having all the issues. We have all of the regulation really screwing people over to where we have problems where even Coinbase doesn't have ability to give people's money on-ramped, right? On-ramping fiat to crypto is the hardest problem that we have as a company with any of our clients, because we have clients worldwide. And right now, if they're in Canada, we have to do this. If they're in the UK, we have to do this. And every week we have to change. So yeah, it is actually.
It's freaking ripping right now.
Yeah. Lifer, did you just say Bitcoin's ripping right now?
Yeah, it's ripping. Like,
what's it at right now? What
28,340 now on
28,340.
It's banging through short
It's been
squeezes.
banging around. It's been banging around a lot today. So let me ask this, and then Lifer, if you wouldn't mind, if you could get ready in the background, could you do the XRP one? They wanted to see some TA on XRP. Somebody had thrown out a super chat, wanted to kind of be impromptu, a little TA on XRP. You mind doing that?
Sure, whatever you guys
Okay.
want.
Yeah. So while you pull that up, I want to ask Vet. So Vet, we've been talking a lot about the Fed, and they are scary at best right now. I mean, they put us into the situation, and now they got to try to quote unquote dig us out. But here's my question. What would it actually take for the Fed to, everybody's looking for like rate reductions. We got a 25 point basis hike, or a 25 basis points rate hike on the way up, and they're calling it dovish, which, okay. And now we're seeing Bitcoin move, which obviously has to do with the banks and everything else. But he basically said, no way we are reducing rates. Well, I call BS, because I'm not saying that they're going to, but I call BS as it relates to no way, because there's always a way when they need to make something happen. So what would it take for them to actually reduce rates? And do you see any like huge, I don't know, potential pitfalls in kind of the setup or the game plan that it looks like the Fed, at least from what they're giving us, is?
I think you're watching it right now. I
Okay.
think he's about to throw his cards here soon. There's no way he will stay and do this all year. To do that would literally completely just tumble everything, right? So earlier I didn't elaborate on which scenario would go where. So let's say we do have, no, he does stick to his guns. Jay Powell wants to be the new Volcker. He wants to be the remembered chairman that fixed everything by doing something crazy. Okay, let's say he does that. Well, what's going to happen to everything, right? Everybody's going to be more pain. We're going to suffer through it, and then eventually everything levels out. But there's a huge drastic change of everything. This is going to be not only finance, this will be industry, this will be how we do everything, which we're already seeing with AI taking over a lot of people's jobs. So if that was to happen, I think Bitcoin goes down. And the reason why is, where's the money going to come from to go into Bitcoin, right? They're going to be controlling this not only with regulation, but also with the fact that they can control where money goes in and out of through banks. Right now, they're forcing everybody to move to the 10 big banks to promise FDIC insurance. They're liars. They're not going to be FDIC insured. They don't even have enough money right now to cover a third.
They could start
the
printing it,
banks.
or as you say, counterfeiting it.
Bingo. So let's say we have to pivot because they don't want the banks to fail, because if the banks do fail, we get that hyperinflation. We get that Bitcoin too, because people will then have to do any type of commerce through the U.S. They'll have to be a new thing, right? And we're not going to accept the yuan or, the ruble or any of these other things, right? So we would then have to go to what technology is. So that route there, I feel like, is highly unlikely, because that would be the U.S. giving up all of its power, which it has held for as long as you can remember here, since we took it from the British, right? So if we continue on this route, I feel like they would lose. So the way that they're facading it right now is, we need to wait for job reports. We need to wait for inflation to come to 2%. It's never going to hit 2%, jackass. You've printed trillions of dollars. Okay, so now let's continue back to the story. All right, if we did do all of this, that would save them and kick the ball down the road. Bitcoin would go up, but they would still be hindered by the FUD and regulation. This is where I think the super cycle is hindered. We can't have that unless we have collapse and we have everybody moving to utility, and that's just not going to happen at one time. It's going to take time, so we'll keep having these waves. So I don't think it looks good if we hold his guns, but there's no way he'll do that, because that would just ruin everything. So I believe he'll pivot exactly like they said previously, May or June. but we'll probably just hold here for now, and that's going to be the start for going forward. That's my call.
No, fantastic answer, man. I appreciate you chiming in on that. There is a lot that people have question marks. A lot of people don't understand what's happening right now when they talk about tightening conditions. We talked about this yesterday on Debate Crypto, and I was explaining how tightening credit conditions is in a way they're still messing with interest rates. They call it tightening credit conditions, but they're playing with interest
economic
rates.
growth.
Yeah, exactly. So they're playing with growth. So. Exactly. They're playing with the numbers to move things around to either look good and rub your back or put themselves in a position to be able to take that next step forward or AKA kick the can down the road. So, all right, before we wrap this up, $5 super chat earlier from your boy, John Connor. John Connor always asking, listen, XRP fam, put them up if you're in the chat. Let's check out XRP. Vet, you got that pulled up? Yeah. Or I'm sorry. No, I meant life.
It's all good.
Sorry, my bad. Yep.
It's all good. Yeah, it's funny. It's funny. I'm going on a lot of channels now, and I made the XRP call on Sin City Crypto. Shout out to Sin City Crypto. Someone asked me about it there, and I saw, I'm a simple trader. Tight moving averages. We were about to get above a point of control. We were super tight inside a giant symmetrical triangle, right? Like, who's selling XRP off? You know what I mean? Like the XRP army would hold that to their grave. Like I owe 10,000 XRP. I won't sell it to spite. You know what I mean? Like I'll die with it at this point. Like it's like whatever, man. So shout out to the army, man. I love y'all. So yeah, so we called that pump. It was nice. XRP's got a huge market cap. So when you call a pump for XRP, 15, 25, 30% is a big move, right?
A big move.
So we got the move. We nailed it. Now everyone wants to know, what do I do? Well, I have another beautiful bull pennant forming right here on the 1 hour time frame, and we're starting to reset. And we're looking nice. And the range that we discussed earlier too, kind of Bitcoin, you can see like this is ranging too in a similar type of, that's a bullish rectangle. All right. That's what it is. That's a bullish rectangle. That is a 68% chance of a break to the upside with a measure move of the pole. That would take you to about 49 cents, right? Highly likely this continues. There's a bit of euphoria for it's like, and also Coinbase just jumped in on the XRP kind of backup thing. More and more people, the more people the SEC goes after, I feel like the stronger the force against the SEC becomes. I've also heard some insiders tell me that Gary will be out by June, and it's like a highly likely, but who knows? You know what I mean? That's just, here and there. But so I'm looking for XRP to pump. And that's kind of, that's a cup with a little bit of a sideward handle too there. So again, anything could happen. We have to get above this resistance. There's a point of control right here at 44.9. You close a 1 hour candle above here, it's very likely you get to this next resistance at 49, and it's very likely you break out, and you could be getting up to 56 cents and 77/10% there for XRP. Yeah.
Well, hey, shout out to Sin City Crypto. Sin City, you already know we love you, and we would have shouted you out.
Good dudes. We love them, man.
We wouldn't. You didn't even have to do a super chat on it, brother. Gave us put together a fantastic new intro for us. So shout out to Big Rob.
And they're freaking awesome, man.
Yeah, nice dude. Our new intro was shout out to Sin City. So we appreciate you guys for being here. Well, family, I appreciate each and every one of you for being here. TA Thursdays are rocking. People are really enjoying this. I want to remind everybody, Debate Crypto is here Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So put on the bell notification. That's going to tell you, hey, we're live. Okay. Put that on. Smash those likes. Follow Vet. Follow Lifer. Follow Magic. Listen, you're not going to get better information elsewhere. And on Mondays, just as a reminder, we are doing the same thing, except for we're focusing more on altcoin centric. So wrap up your weekend, put the drinks away, get into some crypto. Let's check out some altcoins. So be here on Mondays if you want to see the same exact thing. And then the other days throughout the week, Crusader and I or other panelists, we're asking the real questions in crypto. Why are things happening? What is really going on? We say question everything, trust nothing. What we're saying there is there's a lot that's going on behind the scenes that you're not aware of, and there's a reason for it. So just make sure to open your eyes and pay attention. This world that we live in is a crazy, chaotic place. So thank you all for being here. Gentlemen, I appreciate each and every one of you. It has been a fantastic show. And just remember to question everything, trust nothing. And until next time, hodl like it's hot. We will see you soon.